Welcome back, everybody. This is Zach again with New Angle Sports Talk. Today we're going to be recapping Game 2, Raptors 76ers. Fun game. The first game was fantastic. The Raptors did kind of run away with it, I guess, in the first game. Second game was a lot different. So if you're a 76ers fan, you actually have a lot to look forward to in this game. But before we jump right in, guys, as usual, the highlights are going to be on the screen. But to give you kind of some information about what's going on before the game starts. Here is Amir Johnson was actually active tonight. That was kind of a big story. You'd expect him to kind of give them some interior defense and kind of help out a little bit with the in the paint scoring that the Raptors just seemingly did at will. Also, more importantly, though, I think the reason why Amir Johnson was starting tonight is obviously because Joel Embiid had a sickness. I think they said flu. I could be wrong, but you guys can let me know if that's wrong. But it was some kind of stomach bug or something that was going on. You could see him coughing, especially in the first quarter. You could see him coughing a lot while on the court, not just like on the bench, but while he was on the court as well too, and that kind of thing. But that's really, like I said in last round as well, whenever the 76ers beat out the Nets in five games, was the big matchup that I wanted to see. Not only was it Jimmy Butler and Kawhi, that's a fun one to watch, but probably the most important one is Joel Embiid and Marc Gasol. In Game 1, Marc Gasol held Joel Embiid 1 for 8 shooting while Marc Gasol was guarding Joel Embiid. So, again, Marc Gasol has a really good presence, especially down low. And it's not just like paint protection either. It's not just that. It's like just the physicality with Marc Gasol. He's wide, he's big, he's heavy, he's strong, that kind of thing. And honestly, that's not all that common in the Eastern Conference. So, Joel Embiid has a really big matchup coming to him in this game here, or this series rather. Now, immediately starting in the game, though, the 76ers obviously went to Joel Embiid to kind of start the game. He had 2 straight post-ups right away. Now, he didn't really shoot the ball very often, and I'll kind of get into that once we get to the second quarter. But they made a concerted effort to obviously try to get him the ball early. One play that you may have already seen by now was with like 2 minutes into the game, Pascal Siakam had a clean spin over Joel Embiid, got it for a layup, and that was a big play. That was kind of a Kickstarter for the Raptors offense. Now, later on in this quarter, though, the 76ers did go on a 7-0 run in the first quarter, and Pascal Siakam just had another clean spin move. I didn't write down what time the second one came in, but I think if I remember correctly, it was over Joel Embiid, and that's really that's his go-to move, is that spin move. Kawhi does it really well too, but Pascal Siakam can get that spin move, and that's really obvious. That's something that he feels comfortable with. A lot of times when you spin, some players feel like they're out of control or the footwork isn't down, but he's got good footwork, so him spinning and being able to kind of throw that curveball, so to speak, against the defender really helps him out a lot. It helps him out a ton, especially on the offensive side, and just getting his spacing and getting clean, good shots. Now, jumping in a little bit further now, I wanted to analyze kind of the 76ers game plan on defense. They were doubling Siakam and Kawhi Leonard pretty quickly, pretty early in the game, in the first quarter. They continue that throughout the game, but it was obviously really noticeable in the first quarter whenever your game plan comes out and you make adjustments later on. But Pascal Siakam and Kawhi Leonard had a tough time getting their shots. The 76ers, what they do is they switch everything, it looks like. From when I watched the games, Game 1, Game 2, and all of the first round as well too, when they played against the Nets, they switch everything. The Raptors really don't. They hedge a lot and they double a lot, but they don't necessarily do like full-on switches like some of the teams like the Warriors or the Rockets or the 76ers or the Celtics. Some of those teams do instead. So the Raptors kind of have that old school feel to them a little bit when they're playing defense and their game plan, because they don't do that. Now, jumping back over to the 76ers side of defense, when they're doubling Siakam and Kawhi, in order to get easy baskets, in order to get your offense running, is either one, running transition offense, or cutting to the basket, or cutting to the free throw line, or cutting to the 3-point line to get passing lanes open so you can get clean looks. And Marc Gasol, Siakam, Kyle Lowry, Kawhi Leonard, Danny Green as well too, like Ibaka, like they're all good passers. They're all very good passers. Marc Gasol has to be one of the top big man passers in the league as well too. Maybe next to like a Draymond Green, who's good at passing. Jokic is great at passing. Rudy Gobert is great at passing. I know I'm missing a lot of names here, but I'm just saying those are some key guys, and I think Marc Gasol is right up there with him when you talk about passing on the offense. and kind of setting up his teammates for the best play possible. Now, ending the quarter, the 76ers did have a big lead, 26-17 at the end of the quarter. Now, there wasn't a ton of stuff that really happened in the beginning of the second quarter. Basically just normal basketball, nothing that really stuck out to me. So I'm going to highlight some of the big first half stats between the two teams. The 76ers shot 50%. They were 8 of 16 from the three-point line, and the Raptors shot 20%. They were 3 of 15 from the three-point line. So the 76ers actually were getting pretty decent looks. I would say JJ Redick, he really hit some good shots, some good threes, and kind of got back to his thing. If you remember in the Game 1 recap, he did not have a good first half at all, but the third quarter he came out and hit 4 straight threes. So he kind of got his whole game running at that point. He didn't have, besides those 4 threes, he didn't necessarily have a great game after that, but he kind of kick-started his whole scoring and that kind of thing, and it really delivered in the first quarter of this game as well, too. It carried over. Besides the three-point percentage, the rebounds was a big discrepancy. The 76ers had 33 by halftime. The Raptors had 13. Assists was also in the 76ers' favor. They had 14. The Raptors had 8. But also turnovers as well, too. This is how the Raptors were able to stay in the game, was with turnovers. They only had 4 turnovers, meaning the Raptors. They only had 4 turnovers, but the 76ers had 12. So, yeah, you're getting offensive rebounds. You're getting rebounds. You're running in transition. You're getting assists. You're shooting the threes. But if you can't protect the ball as well, too, you have to do all of those things in order to maintain a big lead and get that big lead and maintain it. But if you're turning over the ball, that's when you run into problems and that's when you're at a risk of losing your lead. And in the playoffs, that'll happen in a blink of an eye. All right, now with that being said, the first half ended with a 51-38 lead with the 76ers. And honestly, the Raptors should feel very, very lucky that they were only down by this amount. Like I said, they played good defense. They turned over the ball, but the 76ers were just automatic. They were cutting really well. They were getting to the basket. They were sharing the ball, like I said, with assists. They were playing their brand of basketball, which is exactly what you need from them. Now, I mentioned just a few seconds ago that Joel Embiid had his first shot attempt in the second quarter. It didn't go in. Okay, his first made field goal. Now, he did pretty good from the line from free throws, but his first made field goal was 8:30 left in the third quarter. So there's that. I mean, he just didn't have a great game, not a Joel Embiid game, but again, that might be due because of the sickness that he had. And we're going to highlight another big play that I noticed as well, too, with about 5:30 to 5:20. This is left in the third quarter. This is kind of where that range was when this play came up. Pascal Siakam was in transition. He shoots a layup. I believe it was over Jimmy Butler at the time, and he gets blocked. And what he does is he doesn't necessarily – I hate when players – there's a few of them, when you just hear me say this, you're going to have a few of them that come to your mind, I'm sure. But I hate when NBA players, they go up for a layup or they shoot a three or whatever in transition, or it doesn't have to even be in transition, but they shoot a shot and they feel like they got fouled. So what they do is they don't get back on defense. They just stay there and complain to the ref. Well, Pascal Siakam, maybe he's younger and that's the reason why he doesn't do that now. But I feel like as a whole, maybe with the exception of like Kyle Lowry, because he does this a ton, but maybe everybody on the Raptors besides Kyle Lowry, they don't complain that they didn't necessarily get the call. Now, every once in a while, you have those ones where they do complain and they don't get back on defense, but in this play specifically, Pascal Siakam, he got back on defense, and then what happened? What happened right after that? The Raptors block a layup attempt by the 76ers. They throw the lead pass out to Pascal Siakam, and he finishes strong again over Jimmy Butler again. So he made up for the missed layup that he just had that was just blocked. So, again, get running in transition. This is what playoff basketball is. You got to run in transition. You got to be ready for teams to, you got to be ready at any second. So whenever a team misses a shot, you got to be ready to run. Now, one player I do want to highlight, though, on the 76ers who actually played pretty well up to this point was Greg Monroe. He had 10 points in the third quarter, and he had 5 rebounds. And, you typically when you think of Greg Monroe, you just think of offense. And that's what a lot of that was, is 10 points was pretty good offense, really good around the rim. But his points were really clutch. I felt like he got the shot that he wanted. And it was every time it felt like he scored, especially the last couple shots that he made, was when the 76ers offense started to stall. So they got the ball into Greg Monroe. He made an easy basket and kind of kept them back up and kind of kept the tempo back up with them again, and making sure that everybody stayed confident in their shot and that kind of thing. So they kind of bailed him out. The problem with Greg Monroe was that he got injured, actually. He went to the locker room with 4:35 left. They said that it was a sprained ankle, like midway or the end of the fourth quarter almost. He wasn't playing bad offense. His defense, it is what it is. You know what I mean? It's just like, he's not going to play great defense. But what can you do? His offense, though, is really good. He played really good minutes for the role that he has. I thought he didn't do too bad, but it was a shame to kind of see him go down because you want to see him healthy and that kind of thing, especially coming into the fourth quarter. Now we're going to go ahead and skip forward to almost the end of the fourth quarter, like almost to the end of the game. A couple of things that I want to highlight here as well. Pascal Siakam had his 5th foul with a little over 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Now he would not end up actually fouling out. Now we're going to highlight kind of the last 3 to 4 minutes or so left in the game. Kawhi Leonard at 3:30 left in the game hit a big and one. And again, you guys may have already seen this on the screen, but he hits an and one right over Ben Simmons, and that kind of jump starts them having an 8-0 run, for the Raptors. Now, at that point, right after that, I think Jimmy Butler was the one that hit the layup. Pascal Siakam hit a huge corner 3. That got the crowd pumping up. The lead goes up to 11-2 at that point. Jimmy Butler again hits a big-time 3 as well, too. He's trying to prevent the Raptors from coming back and kind of getting any more momentum than they already have, and he's doing a great job at it. Now, again, they're down by this point. The Raptors are down by this point, as you can see. Lowry hits 2 big threes to kind of keep that momentum going. Embiid hit a big-time layup right over Marc Gasol, and that was a 3-point game at that point. Embiid kind of closed it out. Like I said, he didn't have a fantastic game. He didn't have a Joel Embiid type game, but he was effective where he needed to be. Right after that layup, though, from Embiid right over Marc Gasol, there's 24 seconds left, and down by 3 at that point. What happens is Kawhi Leonard has a pretty decent look for 3 at the top of the key, but he gets a better look by swinging one more pass to Green, but he misses the 3. That was pretty much it for that game, though. It came down to if they could hit the 3 or not. They didn't hit the 3, but it was a good look. It was a fantastic look. You can't hate yourself because you missed it. Good look. Maybe next time it falls. The 76ers does take game 2, 89-94. They've got to feel good about splitting the games when you're on the road. That's kind of the goal, especially when you're down. You're a lower seed in these playoffs. Now, I wouldn't say that they're like a drastic underdog by any means, but they are the lower seed. You don't have home court advantage, so the goal in this situation in any series, doesn't matter who you are, is to go and split the games if you can. So that was pretty much it, guys. Again, final score is 89-94. I'll have game 1 of Portland and the Denver Nuggets out tonight. As always, guys, like, comment, subscribe, and tell me what you thought. Thanks.